Hi, you are listening to Adulting with Ebony, and this episode is part of a mini series over the summer of 2024 where I am republishing some of my favorite episodes from season 2 so that I get to walk my talk and have a summer off while continuing with the consistency of producing an episode for you each and every week. These episodes are my favorite 7 from series 2, which is really difficult to compile, by the way. So if you enjoy these episodes, you can always go back to the full season and binge listen to a load more. But over the summer of 2024, I am going to be sharing with you 7 of my favorite episodes of season 2. And I will be back with a brand new season 8, in September. Until then, have a wonderful summer. Please, as you're listening to these episodes, come and connect with me on Instagram. Let me know how you're getting on. And as always, please share the podcast, rate and review. It means so, so much to me. You are listening to Adulting with Ebony. Season 7 brings together neurodiversity, human design, and embodiment so that Gen X or millennial misfits and late diagnosed neurospices become empowered, embodied, and fully expressed. This is the show where I actively encourage you to feel your feelings rather than think them. Glow up, not grow up, and become full of yourself. Because who the fuck else should you be full of? Each week, I have real and raw conversations about what it takes to be fully resourced and have happy, healthy, intimate relationships as a dopamine-deficient adult wanting to create a better future by being the change that you want to see in the world. I am your host, Ebony Allard, aka Ebony Alchemy, a late diagnosed ADHDer, combined type and Asperger's in case you like specifics, artist, mystic, and self-actualization facilitator. I'm an international award-winning multiple brain integration technique master coach with special interest in embodied human design for neurodivergence. I've been in the personal development, creativity, and entrepreneurship spaces all of my life, and as a 5/2 emotional manifesting generator with a left angle cross of distraction, I am here to help you know what to trust and what to tune out. Each week, I share relatable, practical ways that mean you get to take less responsibility for more reward and safely remove your camouflage for more belonging, acceptance, and fulfillment. Ready? Let's go. Over the last however many years I have been alive, I turned 40 this year in July. However many years I've been alive, I have been codependent, I've been a people pleaser, I've been a martyr, I have put others first. And I own that. That wasn't something that happened to me. It was a series of choices that I made along the way. And sometimes those choices come from need. Sometimes those choices are an incredibly useful and resourceful strategy at a time when your safety depends on it. And as I've matured and as my circumstances have changed and as I've built myself a business and a life that genuinely feels as good on the inside as it perhaps looks on the outside, and have really focused on my values and value filtered living and decided that I want to be an adult, be a kick-ass and kind adult, and be the change that I want to see in the world and walk my talk. That's meant that I have grown. It meant that I've invested in coaches and in training, and it means that I have also invested in holidays and haircuts and downtime, because it's all of those things that contribute to the making of a person and the healing of our wounds and reaching a place where you really are able to choose you. Because at the end of the day, we're born into this world on an inhale, and we leave this world and this body on an exhale. And everything in between is a series of inhalations and exhalations where we are able to stay present to the truth that is that we have everything that we need in this precise moment, whilst at the same time we are highly complex relational beings that have the beauty of existing in a world where all of the relationships and all of the scenarios that are presented to us are a reflection, an external reflection of what is going on internally. And part of adulting and part of our journey, or part of our journeying, is getting to know ourselves, recognizing our own patterns, being willing to look in that mirror, being willing to move through ego through our shadow into a place of connection with our soul, which is our subconscious in some way, and being able to work with that vice or that trickster or that demon within us that wants to pull us in another direction. And so choosing yourself isn't always, particularly for those of us who consider ourselves heart-based humans, compassionate humans, choosing ourselves isn't always easy. Actually, it's far easier at times to choose others, to make others our God, or to make God our God, or to create an authority outside of ourselves and look up to that and look to that leader or that guru or that authority for the answers and for the way. And so 2020 for me is about choosing myself. 2020 is a me first year. And for the first time in my life, I do not feel selfish for saying that or for doing it. And for me, I am really ready to tighten up my boundaries, to get really clear on the fact that although my business is in service of your growth and in service of your success, and that what I want to see in the world is a world full of kick-ass and kind misfits who are becoming mavens by choosing to adult the fuck up and really be radically responsible for their reality and for their joy and for the creation of everything that you desire, and so therefore listening to your soul, because that's what we're here for. Whilst I really am in service of all of those things and here for you, I am here for me first. And I realize that I've done myself and in some ways you guys a disservice by not showing up for me first. Actually, there's a laziness about making somebody else my authority, right? Making somebody else, like the money, the authority, or making my community the authority, or making whatever it is the authority outside of me. And this year, I am the authority on me. And I choose to have a lot more fun. I choose to embrace the wildness within me and to find a way to healthily express that wildness. And that means coming up against my edges of selfishness. That means coming up against my edges of saying no. That means coming up against my edges of where in my teens and 20s, the only way to express my wildness was with drugs, sex, and alcohol. And I am ready, as I head into my 40th year, to really go there, to really explore what it truly means to be kick-ass and kind, what it truly means to honor the wild in me, and in so doing, honor the wild in you. Because I'm pretty good at nailing this responsibility piece. And it might be that you are really good at wild. It might be that you are really good at whatever wild means for you. And for me, it's always meant uninhibited self-expression. So yeah, that is what this year is about for me. And maybe, you're really good at that wild part, and you come to me and you come to Misfit Enterprise and you come into my world and my reality and kind of the teachings that I share and the coaching that I do and this podcast and the programs that I run and all of those things. Maybe you come into my world because you want some help becoming more responsible, because you want some help putting systems in place to really have that freedom, right? Of course, because in order to have true freedom, we need structure. So maybe that's why you're here, in which case Misfit to Maven 365 is the kind of new iteration. It's the only program, it's the only way to work with me. Excuse me while I close Slack. It's going to keep going. Oh gosh, human error. So yeah, the only way to work with me is Misfit to Maven 365 this year. And I have got rid of every other program and every other thing that I offer in service of simplicity, really. So the Misfit to Maven way is the way that I live my life. It's the way that my clients work with me. There are pillars of practice that we work through, and there are now a couple of different levels, a couple of different ways that you can join M2M. You can join with one-on-one with me. And I'm really coaching one-to-one. I'm going back to my roots and like giving you guys coaching. So if you, and it's really accessible price-wise, that obviously there's going to be people who say, no, it isn't, it's far too expensive, Ebony. That's fine. But from where I'm standing, it's a hugely accessible price and a way of coming to work with me as to get more responsible, to get your systems in place, to get your structures in place, to be able to have that freedom and be supported by those structures, and essentially layering your masculine and feminine together so that you can support yourself to be free. And then perhaps you have your shit together. Perhaps you're really good at responsible, really good at the money piece, really good at the providing, the protect and provide piece, but find it much more difficult to lean into fun and pleasure and that kind of irresponsibility, which isn't irresponsible. So I'm really, really playing with that. But maybe you find it difficult to let go, to surrender, to like really be wildly uninhibited and free. In which case, I invite you to come on a journey with me. This year, like you guys get to come on a journey with me as I explore that more deeply for myself. And my invitation is that you explore it more deeply as well. So over the coming weeks, the way that the podcasts are going to work is that we'll have kind of one with a guest, one with me, one with a guest, one with me. And so you'll get the guest information and me really bouncing off that other person. And then I will dive a little bit deeper into those topics of the things that we talked about. And so, yeah, if you've got any ideas of healthy wildness, things that I can do to explore living a more uninhibited, free, wild life, then I am really open to that. I'm really up for some challenges, some experiments this year. I'd love for you to come over to my Instagram and slide into my DMs and let me know, like, give me some ideas. I'm up for doing these together. I'm up for creating some kind of community events and doing some things where we try these challenges, or where, I share the challenges that I'm going to do, and then you can show me yours if I show you mine, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I'm also totally cutting back on Facebook this year. Simplification is the name of the game. So the two places to really engage with me are Instagram or my mailing list, and that's it. And whilst there may be stuff in peripheries, those are the two places that I am going to be hanging out. And I would absolutely love to engage with you. So if you want to come find me on Instagram, please do. And yeah, say hello. I intend to be sharing much more IGTV on there. And so if there's a topic that you want me to dive in a bit more deep, if you heard me say something in one of these podcasts and you want me to go a bit more deep, or go deeper into that topic or subject, then I absolutely will. I would love that. But the theme of this year is really, me first, choosing yourself. What does it mean to choose yourself? What does it really mean? And there are probably going to be some things that come up for you. So I actually invite you to get your journal out and to write these down. Or if you're driving, I often drive when I'm listening to people's podcasts, then just have a think about each of these things. So what does choosing yourself mean? What is the vision of choosing yourself? Like, if you were to create a life where you chose yourself first, where you put yourself first, what would that look like? What would your day-to-day look like? What would you see? What would you hear? What would your social media look like? What would your calendar look like? What would your food look like? What would your exercise look like? What would your relationships look like if you were choosing you first, if you were choosing yourself? So just spend a little moment thinking about that, or journaling about it, or kind of maybe if you're in the car on your own, saying it out loud. Choosing myself would look like. And then just for a moment, go into the darkness, go into the shadows of that, and pull out what's stopping you. What are all the reasons why that can't happen? What are all the reasons that you cannot choose yourself? What are all the reasons that you cannot put yourself first? List them out, say them out loud, hear them. And then if you did choose yourself, if choosing yourself were your default, if choosing yourself was natural to you and just the way that you operated, what are some of the beliefs that you would have about who you are? What are some of the beliefs that you would be carrying around in your head about what would you believe when you looked at other people? What would you believe that other people saw when they looked at you? What would you believe was possible for you? What would you believe about what you could earn or give away? What would you believe if choosing yourself were easy and natural for you? And then if you're someone who chose yourself just, regularly, if you were someone who chose yourself and was able to put yourself first with compassion and courage, who would you be? And maybe try finishing this. I choose myself and I am. I choose myself because. Choosing myself means. And just look at what comes out. And is it something positive? Is it something empowering? And if not, what gets to change? What do you get to look at? What gets to shift? Try this one. I choose to choose myself because. Choosing to put myself first is great for everyone because. Interesting, huh? So yeah, press, pause, rewind, whatever, play around with those. If we'll put them in the show notes somewhere for you as well, so you can have those journaling prompts and really get to play. If you've got any kind of huge ahas from this episode, then please, like I said, come over to Instagram, share them with me, slide them into my DMs. I'm probably going to be putting some of those questions in my story so you can get involved. I'd really, really love that. But yeah, this is going to be the year of choosing ourselves. Let's do it. Let's put ourselves first. Let's create a reality where the kick-ass and kind misfits of the world are able to put themselves first and create enough capacity within ourselves to really show up for those that need us. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. So as always, value filtered living is the way. If you don't have your value filter yet, then you can find the kind of instructions how to do that in my book, From Misfit to Maven, which is available on my website signed or on Amazon across the world. And also on the Value Filter Masterclass, which is available on my website. And if you get in the Value Filter Masterclass, you have lifetime access to that. And we'll put any updates that I do to the process in there. And when my second book comes out later in the year, there will be some updates that go into that as well. And so if you've already got it, you'll already get them. Yeah, and getting your value filter means having a set of rules that really allows you to choose yourself first, because you're able to see what quality of energy you need to be surrounding yourself in, or how you can leverage the very best of you to get the very best out of life. Value filtered living is about walking your talk. Value filtered living is about adulting, and really adulting and advocating for your pleasure as well as your responsibility. So I am really, really excited about this year, even though lots of it scares me in a kind of this is new kind of way, rather than a this is dangerous kind of a way. And I look forward to engaging this conversation with you, really tipping your edge on moving from an energy of hustle and proving to a place where we are enough. Yeah. So as always, thank you for listening to the show. I absolutely adore you. You guys are incredible. And if you've enjoyed this episode, or you feel like any of your friends could get something out of it, please do share it, rate it, subscribe. And if you're not on the mailing list or following me on Instagram, please go do that now so that we can stay in touch. I adore you. Until next week, have a fantastic week.